Yo!
Dreaming, don't give it up, Lupe. Dreaming, don't give it up, Solo. Dreaming, don't give it up, Nave. Dreaming, don't give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up.
Hey guys, welcome back to Phil Plays TCG. Today I wanted to talk to you about how I'm feeling about the current One Piece meta here in North America. Obviously, we are up to set 5, and we just got the Uda starter deck. I actually got mine right here, thanks to my roommate Jimmy. Thanks for the hookup, my guy. Also, I hate that I look so bright in this camera because the screen is just very bright as I'm recording this, so sorry I look incredibly neon white right now. But basically, it's been on my mind for a little bit. And you've kind of noticed there hasn't been a whole lot of One Piece content lately on the channel, besides my buddy Zach's first place Whitebeard deck that he dominated us at our recent locals. Shout out to him. Great player, great guy. I'm not having fun with the current One Piece meta. And what I mean by that is that I think this is such a... It's a rough spot where Jimmy, my roommate, and he's our local TO, he runs the One Piece, the Iowa Grand Fleet YouTube channel. You should go check that out, by the way. Link in the description and at the end of the video. Huge One Piece fan. He got me into this game. And he hasn't been playing since, oh god. He played a little bit in set 4, but he hasn't really been playing One Piece for 2 to 3 months at this point. Because he's just not having fun. And he's a huge One Piece player, One Piece fan. And like I said, he got us into the game. He was the one that basically started the One Piece here at our locals. And has been such an amazing TO. Like, he likes TOing the game, he likes hanging out with all of us, but he just hasn't had fun playing the game. That is going to change because he is building Uda, because he's a green player and he really wants to play green. But he's going to try, to start playing again with Uda, and I really hope that deck is going to work out for him. But he just hasn't had fun, and I haven't had a lot of fun. Because right now, in my opinion, this meta is just incredibly boring. As you look here, we have the North American 2023 finals, the top 64 decks. Obviously, the deck that won was Anel, and Sakazuki was the runner-up. And the rest of the meta, the rest of the top 64, is primarily Black Blue Sakazuki. I love black. I love the color blue in this game. I had a lot of fun, testing Black Blue Sakazuki, but the more and more I played it, no matter what I did, the RNG gods just did not want me to have fun playing this game. I was on Sakazuki for a while, and my personal experience of the deck is that it never worked for me. My RNG with the deck was awful. I've had so many instances where I should have won games, and because of bad RNG, it didn't work. So to me, a deck like Sakazuki, that is like the best deck in format that everyone says, and I will agree, it is incredibly good. It just didn't work for me. So what I do, I hopped around to play other decks, and just right now, this meta with the top 3 leaders in this game being, let's face it here, the best 3 leaders in this game are Sakazuki, Anel, and Katakuri. Luffy is a close 4th, but Luffy has fallen off of the big 3, and I think right now the new big 3 are Katakuri, Anel, Sakazuki. These 3 decks in general are so unfun to play against, because they're all incredibly overtuned. Black and blue is the most disgusting color combination you could have gotten in this game because they're perfect. They're perfect together. Black being able to lower cost and blue being able to bounce things according, based off cost. And yellow in general is just not fun to play against because there's no strategy against yellow. You just swing, hope that whatever life they get is not a bad trigger, because most cases it's going to be a trigger. Yellow has, like, when Yellow first was introduced in set 3, it had a decent amount of triggers, but sets 4 and 5 just continue to add amazing triggers to the point where now it's, if they're going to get a trigger, it's what trigger are they going to get? Stuff that gives them a free body on board, cards that completely stop your opponent from being able to win the game due to freezing their last character or leader, cards that KO things. Yellow wins by losing. The more life they take, the better their chances of actually winning are. And then, of course, you have life gain, life manipulation, and it's not fun. In my opinion, Enel is the real best deck in format due to the fact it cannot freaking die. There are certain decks that have a better matchup into Enel, but I think when you compare Enel and Sakazuki, Enel is the better deck, because Enel can be a stall deck, it can be an aggressive deck, but it just cannot die because you have to swing at least 3 times into the leader. Even though they have 1 life, you have to swing 3 times. Once to get the last life to trigger their leader ability. Leader plays another life. You have to KO that life, and then you have to swing in again. So 3 times. And you just have to hope that at no point in time they get a trigger that could mess with, like, oh, they get a blocker trigger. Oh, they get a beige trigger. It's just... it's not fun right now. Hell, our best... all of our locals, a lot of our more longtime players have kind of gone away from using these 3 leaders, Sakazuki, Enel, and Katakuri, because they're just bored. We don't have fun with these leaders. There are a few people at our locals that do run them, but for the most part, everyone in our locals is kind of a consensus here that the meta right now is not healthy, because it's basically you play one of these 3 leaders or you don't. I know people are going to say, oh, look at here. Look at the list of other leaders that were in there in the top 64. If you look at the top 64, 32 were Sakazuki, 9 Enel, 7 Katakuri, 5 Purple Luffy, 3 Starter Deck Luffy, 3 Whitebeards, which Whitebeard is still good, 2 Zoro, Zoro is still good, 2 Nami, and a Trafalgar Law, which is surprising that they made it that far. With how many with Sakazuki, how many Sakazukis there are in the meta. It's just, I don't know. I know I'm not the only person that thinks that. And I know a lot of people right now in the card game do think this meta is unhealthy. It's not fun. When you sit down and you have a 50% chance of getting, like in this case, yes, 32, 50% of the room in the top 64 were Sakazuki. I don't know. And yellow loses to aggression, but yellow has so many amazing cards now that can KO things. Has great blockers, like I said, life manipulation. So even though it has a harder time against aggression, it can still do really well. Then you have Sakazuki, which fucks with lower to the ground aggression decks like Zoro and Law. So those don't really work well into it. Katakuri just relies heavily on the Big Mom package. Big Mom package is still amazing. Purple Luffy is the most fair out of these decks, in my opinion, because you have to sacrifice life in order to gain an advantage. I think 6k leaders are just really unhealthy for the meta. Red Purple Luffy has less life, but it ramps ridiculously quickly. Newgate just always has the fattest hand in the world, and it just baffles me how that deck, is still around, especially with red. Well, so it doesn't baffle me that it's around. Of course it's around because it's still a good deck. And now that red doesn't have its restrictions anymore, you got your 4 Rad Beams, your 4 Newgates, your 4 Marcos. It's insane. Zoro is still kicking. The fact that the last big 3, Law, Zoro, and Whitebeard, are still around shows that they are still good decks. But the fact that they're being so overshadowed by these new ones is such a huge indication of power creep. It just feels like set 5 introduced leaders that were way too strong, way too early. I've gone back to playing just fun decks at my locals, just seeing how far I can do. I built Blue Dofi again because Blue Dofi is incredibly fun and actually surprisingly has an okay matchup into some of these top decks. This week I'm going to be playing Gurple Dofi because once again, fun. Like I know, like he's a Dofi player. I just like the decks. I play whatever deck is fun, and personally, Sakazuki just isn't fun to play because it never works for me. I always get RNG fucked. I discard a card for the leader ability that I don't want, and I draw the same card. Like, I pitch a Hina, draw a Hina. I pitch a Lucci, draw a Lucci. I don't know. This is definitely a rant. This is more of a ranting video than normal. But I just wanted to get my thoughts across that, like, this meta is not fun. Maybe set 6 will make it a little bit better because we do get support for some older decks. And maybe things are going to be a bit more diverse. But I don't know. It's really annoying. Like, how many times you get burned playing a yellow player that you account for everything you know you can account for, and you start swinging in, and then all of a sudden, oh, body. Here we go. Here's something. I played against one of the guys at my locals, Evan, great guy. One of the newer players here. He played a Nell into Sakazuki. We played a match again because we found out during the last tournament we were in, he accidentally misplayed. He ramped 4 Dawn on his turn instead of 2. I don't know how that happened, but he went from 6 Dawn to 10 Dawn in one turn when he wasn't supposed to. So we wanted to replay that. And I kid you not, when I swung in, his first trigger was a Shirahoshi. Fine. Second life, Cracker. Third life, Cracker. Fourth life, Shirahoshi. Ramps a leader. Ramps a life through leader ability. Fifth life was a beige. I lost before I even got to 10 Dawn. And I understand that's incredibly lucky, but like yellow just having access to the best triggers in game and having the ability to ramp life and recover life over time is just, it's so incredibly unbalanced. It gatekeeps, in my opinion, a lot of different decks from being able to play in this format. Sakazuki, at least you have to sacrifice a lot of resources to KO things. There is some recursion, absolutely, but I just feel like it's not as good as Anel. I will die on that hill. But I think this is enough of a rant for me. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. How do you think? What do you think about the OP05 meta? Do you think Uda is going to make any type of impact on this? We are in the. I think we're about to hit the 5.5 meta. You know, the halfway mark. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And remember to hit that like and subscribe. We are on our way to 800 subs. And I will check you guys out on the next video. Take care, guys.
Here's how the story goes. We find out by the treasure in the grand line. There's no doubt. The pirate whose eye is on it, he'll sing. I'll be king of the pirates. I'm gonna be king.
His name is Luffy.
That's Monkey D. Luffy.